This is your winning daily market recap from Thursday, April 28th, 2022. Let's go.
Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well.
This is Dan Max at EXPI Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is your daily market recap for Thursday, April 28th, 2022. If you are newer to the channel, please subscribe. Check out the Discord room. Link is in the description below. Had a lot to talk about today. If you're not familiar with earnings and what's going on, and ultimately some of the bigger things playing out in the market, I hope you check out this channel. Stop by the Discord room. One of the first things we talked about today is, let me zoom up. I apologize, I'm not right on it, is the Stock Traders Almanac. I've done videos about this. If you're not familiar with it, it's worth checking out. It tells you the seasonality of the market. And one of the things that I talk about, and I'll put the video and I'll caption it here, is there is a cycle to the first and last 3 days of a month. It's typically volatile and choppy. Again, today was a bullish day. Expected up. Did not expect this much up. Got to be honest, I did not. That is what it is. But what did we do? We expected a bear tomorrow. So on that note, again, I think Coyote and Vendigoth, a few others took some advantage of calls. I bought calls on Apple, not really as a trade other than to hedge. But there's a ton of stuff that's going on. And if you're not familiar with the seasonality of the market, how the dynamics work during earnings, it's very complicated. Please watch some of the videos that are in the Discord room or on this channel. Again, you can check out the back to basic videos. They're all in there. And one of the things that, and again, here's the video just for people to see. It's coming up. I apologize here. Last three and first three tradings of the month. Be aware, there are tendencies, there are patterns, and especially during earnings, it gets pretty wild. So on that note, let's kind of get into it. Be aware of the earnings. Amazon's getting smushed. Apple had a pop and flop. Intel's flopping. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on here. And at this point, I'm just warning people that it's not pretty out there. It is not pretty out there. And SJ with some good points here. There's only 3 stocks of the mega caps that remain in stage 3. All the rest of them are in 4. Stage 4 is a down action. Stage 3, it doesn't show stage 4. But anyway, stage 4, if you follow stage 4 breakouts or failures, that's the stage that a lot of the tech names are in. They're not acting well. We'll get into that. Learn to trade the market and expect the moves not to happen every day or the day that you want it to. On that note, let's get into TLT. Looking pretty good actually down here, making higher lows potentially. Let's get back into this channel again. I've reviewed this a billion times for folks, but look at the monthly. I'll do it again every video just because, again, I want people to have this mindset of, hey, if you're unsure of what's going on, please start on the monthly. I mean, I beg you, start on the monthly, because there's a lot of traders that I talk with daily, and I can just tell they have tunnel vision. They do. They expect things to happen right now. They expect things to be quick. And the market isn't quick always. It can be, but quick can be dangerous. These quick moves, violent moves have violent ends, like the Westworld saying. So TLT looks like it's holding for now. Let's keep an eye on it again, because I think, as I've predicted, that I know this is not last spring, but we definitely bottomed in March and April. Keep in mind, and remember, this is a straight line move. The Fed's priced in. If you look at the GDP numbers today, let's talk about that. They were fucking garbage. Very not good at all. So knowing that the GDP numbers aren't good, can the Feds get wiggle room? Is 7 rate hikes priced in too much? Obviously yes, but I warn people over and over and over. I've never seen the Federal Reserve navigate a soft landing because they make such big bubbles that ultimately they wear out. So let's keep an eye on it. The dollar. Now, we talked about volatility in the dollar, and some friends talked about shorting the dollar. And, I did a big rant on it yesterday just to be careful. We drew this trend line, and look what we hit today. The monthly trend line. Now, near term, it's probably a little exhausted, but let's just keep an eye on it. Nothing is guaranteed, friends. The VIX, now again, going into this earnings day, look at this, perfect doji, not Dogecoin, doji, indecision. Now, I know the market was up big, and we can get into that right now, but something I noticed on the VIX today, it's the VIX of the VIX, let me pull this real quick. I typically don't talk about the VIX, but it was just interesting that the volatility of the volatility index was acting a certain way, because typically I think it's not even really worth looking at. But I just took a look at it because I like to bounce around. I also like the VIXN, which is the volatility index of the NASDAQ. Interesting action. You know, it's chopping up against range highs. We will see. The SPY. This action yesterday pretended this action today. And I apologize. If you check out the Twitter feed and check out the Discord room, I posted that I thought the SPY could get up to 430. I talked about today something very unusual that I noticed. A lot of moves short-armed what I would consider their target zones. Typically with a higher VIX, I would think that they actually break over or just, you know, wipe out into these zones, but instead you had misses, which was very weird. And we'll talk about it because I probably have to explain some of them that I saw in this video. And I apologize, it might be a little longer, but there's a lot of stuff going on here. And I stay pretty calm during this because I've seen this a bazillion times. I can just tell the emotions that run deep within trading because people are either out of position or over leveraging, and typically it's both. So what is today? Could you say a professional gap? Yeah, I could argue. I mean, you can argue that we could go higher. I'm not going to sit here and not say we can, but the action going into the end of the month being a Friday, I would expect lower. We'll see what happens. Now, again, there's nothing called certainty, and if anyone likes to pretend there is certainty in trading, it's all probabilities. Let's see what happens. The QQQ. Now, this is going to have a little problem because Amazon pooped the bed. If you want, real quick, I will pull up briefing.com. This is where I get all my information from on earnings and whatnot. And it's literally just meant to, it feeds me the headlines and the news and earnings and what's going on in the world. And I pay $540 a year for it. It's a yearly thing. I love it because when something's going on, I don't need to search what's going on. Like it'll drop the headlines to me. Now a lot of people can use Twitter, now no doubt, but I think this clears out a lot of the jokes. A lot, not of jokes, but all the junk. Amazon, bad. AEM, good. Let's go into some more bads. I mean, Roku was interesting. I think the thing's been absolutely murdered. But again, here you go. Robinhood, IMAX, Intel, Apple was up. But as you can see, it's a big earnings day. And my point being for the NASDAQ is that going into earnings on that pop, it was a little suspect.
I'm having trouble connecting to the internet.
Oh, I apologize. My Alexa started yelling at me. Yeah, that short up at 170 on Apple's looking good. Not 170, 169. I apologize. Near 170. We'll get into that shortly. Stick around. It's worth it. Trust me. You'll explain, see exactly why we shorted it. This action, again, hits the 8th day. It's oversold. Notice these moves. Down, down, down. Like, you get a little bit of reprieve. Then you get a big reprieve. Keep in mind, big reprieve going into the end of March. What do we talk about? The end for last three and the first 3 trading days of the month are very choppy. Now, if you were wondering why I'm talking about that, check the Discord room. Back to basics. There's a video explaining why. Window dressing, markups, markdowns, sell-offs pertaining to overbought corrections, conditions. Real simple, folks. Real simple. At this point, watch what happens. Again, I'm not assuming that we'll break down, but I just keep telling people, zoom out. Please zoom out. Please, please, please. Don't come into the Discord room and tell me that, you think long term this is bullish, because this action was a nice smooth channel. Then you had another channel. You had COVID, and then you ripped higher. The liquidity has to get pulled out of the market. Tech is not going to lead, folks. And if anything, it's leading below. Notice it's getting below the 20-month. Look at all these long wicks. You never had. I mean, again, this was chop after a solid move, but I think you're not going to get another high. You're not going to test the highs. Looks very similar to the 2000s here. Look over here. See, you had these chops. This chop, chop, chop. April was crap. Was it May was crap? mean, it might literally play out exactly like this. Let's pull this in real quick because April, May, chop, and then August, boom. That's when the seasonality we've talked about. The summer can be really shitty for tech. Maybe that's when it starts. I don't know for sure, but I don't like this action if I'm a bull long term. The IWM talked about it today being pretty much. Oh, I don't have my charts drawn for this on a. It hit this actual area. Let me tinker with it because on my other charts I have it drawn. I mean, it literally hit the trend perfectly. Perfect. Doink. Notice the back test of it. We broke through it, back tested, and it failed today. And I noticed at the close, it kind of popped back a little bit, but it was almost to a perfect T. We'll see what happens. Let's get into the metals because, again, we have to have these conversations every day because my best friends, the people that I know, love metals. I love metals. I don't want to buy metals, but I am anticipating possibly if the dollar is peaking that you could get some choppy action here. However, let's just not get it twisted. This is Q2. Chop, 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 chop. Chop everybody out. We talked about holding down here near the 100-day. I think the actual futures held the 100-day. I'm checking. I could be wrong, but boom. Bounce. Nice little action. Again, the volume is just, no one's buying this, man. And again, it doesn't have to do with Bitcoin and all this other bullshit. It's just the seasonality, y'all. People, when liquidating, take profits. Now, again, in profits, I mean, everything gets sold. Like, there's nothing to be safe. Try to warn people that. Like, you have to acknowledge the past by studying it and realizing that during the biggest sell-offs, what happened? The metals aren't holding up. Like, especially liquidation breaks. Silver broke this like channel low. I mean, I can just remove this. It doesn't even matter. Or let's try like drawing it a different way and see if it makes sense. I apologize, I'm doing this on the fly, but that makes sense. Okay, makes sense why you bounce there. Got it? Is it due to bounce? Yes. There's someone taunting me on Twitter, which I thought was hilarious. They're like, silver's going to be up and it's going to close for the month at this price. And it was higher. It was much higher on Tuesday. And I was just like, man, I don't have faith. You don't understand window dressing and window markdown. Like, if there's something selling into the end of the month, be careful. Be careful. Oh, sorry. Apple's tanking because it says impact from supply chains will be 4 to 8 billion, which is substantially larger than expected. Okay, so they're having supply chain issues. Just is what it is. Silver, just leave it alone. I'm telling you, if this is playing out like I think it might, you see this monster look below and fail before it ripped. It was the COVID stuff. Like, you would think that metals would do well because they were going to turn the printing presses on. Yeah, it did. It went from like 12 up to 28. Let's blow it out. I mean, I know no one wants to hear that because I own silver. I love it. But I want to see the prices get blown out so that the next move becomes even bigger. Because the bigger the trap, the bigger the move. I mean, here's an example. Chop, chop, pop, pulls back below. Look at this, below, and then bam. You know, Chef Emerald popping the hell out of that thing. So it's not what people want to hear on the gold and silver side. I know that they own positions. There's no bears out there in metals because, again, the prices are so manipulated. The only people with the bears are the banks and the institutions, which one day they will catch wrath. But today, not so much. GDX, same kind of thing. I thought it would short. I thought, again, speaking of short arm, I thought it hit the 100-day, didn't, bounced. Not really interested. GDXJ, same kind of thing. We were hoping for more pain. I thought it would get the 0.618, didn't get it, bounced, short armed. Still looking for lower prices. Look at these blue zones. I don't need to put, hopefully, training wheels on and explain exactly, but hey, look at them. Pull up your own charts. I mean, this is the stuff you need to draw for yourself. AG got back into the buy zone down here. I mean, it should pop. But again, I want to see these things get absolutely killed. And killed because I'm greedy. Because I know if they drop bigger, I can buy more comfortably. Because I know the downsides are going to be limited. AEM... Oh, sorry. They had their earnings after the close. Let's see how it's looking. Nothing really. But they had great earnings. Their revenue was up 39%. They're doing good. Again, I like this company. Broke the trend. Just Be patient. Let me redraw the fibs. I apologize. Here we go. Somewhere down here would be ideal. Even better would be down at the 48 level. Newmont, this company, growth of 5%. I mean, again, AEM 38% year-over-year growth. These guys can't make money, print money left and right when gold's at these prices. They need to buy people. Again, I get in this argument all the time. I'm not saying they're not a good company, but they have high cost structure. They need significantly higher gold prices. It felt very trappish that this thing popped the way it did. Had like this weird M fail channel low. Let's see again. Remember selling, saying short arm, short arm, short arm. So many short arms. So many short arms. And we couldn't get there. And I thought we'd get channel low. We didn't get it. Is that good or bad? You know, I always tell people it doesn't really, you don't know, because sometimes the short arms become the pop to drop and retest. Same thing, pass, pulling back. Let's just roll through this stuff. It's such a waste to watch. Letter X, they had earnings after hours. Let's see how they are doing. Pretty good, 33. Again, I mean, I think it's very obvious. Yeah, US Steel beats by 10 cents. I'm just reading it. I have multiple screens going at the same time. Give me 2 seconds. I will read you the quick headlines. Awkward silence. Okay. Yeah, they beat by 10 cents. Revenue rose 42% year over year. EBITDA rose 143%. Company expects Q2 to be company's all-time best Q2 ever. Wow. Okay. Wow. Believe US Steel is well positioned to earn significantly higher multiple as we demonstrate improved cash flow. Yeah. All right. Note to self. X is fire. Here, let me just give me 2 seconds and I'll show you what I just read. And then put this in your brain and don't forget it. Again, I like materials. I like materials long run, y'all. Here we go. Here's the numbers. Look at this. This is all good. If you need, hit pause. Just read this. This is good stuff. Excellent. Long term, love it. Short term, X. I'd like to see it back at the 28 to 100 day. Again, you don't have to trade this if you don't want. That's fine. But I like to know that my prices, I'm writing it down, X28 again, because I think this is going to get a liquidation break because nothing is safe, even strong companies. This is where when the market corrects, you sit here and you go, all right, let me get out my little checklist, like you're going to the grocery store. Like I'm putting down mine again, because I have it multiple times, but I just like to remind myself, let's put out that checklist. X at 28, I'm buying it. And I'm buying it with your money, my money, and everyone else's money I know. VALE, hey. We talked about it was overdue for a bounce. Put out on the disc or on Twitter, like watch the 100-day here. It closed right at it at 17. Again, I think they're doing well, but I don't want to buy it just yet because I don't think the liquidation breaks are over. And when I say liquidation breaks, meaning just in general, like I just don't think the down of the market is done. And if I don't think the down is done, then I got to be very careful buying things because it probably just retests. So here you go. Put VALE, put an alarm for 1560, and just do that. I mean, it's not that hard. CCJ, another great company. I imagine they're absolutely murdering it. Where do we want to see it? 23. Take your notes. 23. I'd love to see it backtest the 100-day and this old trend line. I apologize that I'm not saying buy. I'm not the permeable like everybody on Twitter and StockTwits are. Like, I understand because I've studied the past that moves counter trend. And when they counter trend, so here's an example like Mosaic. It goes from 28 to 42, 43. Oh, it can only go higher. No, it pulled back to 33. Then you bought it and then you got the lift. Now what? Pulling back again. Let's put Mosaic. Let's put an alarm at 52. Keep it simple. CF, same thing. I wish people understood. Like it's amazing to me that as soon as they buy a stock, they don't think it can go down, and as soon as they short a stock, they don't think it can go up. And it's like, where on what planet did you get this trade advice from? Like, where does that logical? Like, where in the charts does that say that? Same thing with CF. Backtest this trend. I mean, I'd love to see CF under 80. Let's just call under 80. there's your shopping list. Let's get into tech because the opposite is tech. What prices would you want to short? AMD, we smoked this thing. This has been great. I'm letting most of it, or not most of it, the calls that expired done, not most. I took half off and I've been letting it run. I mean, it's probably due to bounce, but man, this thing is like, it's like dead on. Like, pretend this was a boxing match. Like, it's got nothing. It can't get off the canvas. And so where does the targets? We've said down in the 70s. Here you go. That's my first targets. And I zoom out on the monthly and I know what happens to semiconductors after a tech bubble. They become a commodity and they compete against each other and they lower their prices and they literally become a commodity like corn or oil or gold. Like, they'll build such good chips and everybody will have good chips and the pricing power just absolutely gets murdered because they overbuild and then they have to unload. This makes me smile. We bought some calls. They're probably going to get toast. I bought a bunch actually on Tuesday. I'm like, what's today? But bought some here, went a little lower, popped back. I bought the 70 calls as a hedge. They popped pretty solidly today. Not huge, but I took most of it. Like most of it that would consider like my pair trade off. Like let's say the leverage trade of it all. So if I had, for example, I've got 500 shares short. I bought 20 calls. I took off 10 and I bought them for 55 cents. If the 55 cents goes to poof, fine. But one of the things I did after hours, notice 170 here. You see it's the 0.618 here from this move. It's also a confluence of many moving averages. I got 169. I didn't get 170, but I'm like good enough for government work. And then boom, Dad's eating steak tonight. Loving it. I mean, it's just, that's how you trade it. And I've told this to people a bazillion times. If you want to be a great trader, do not front run the unknown. Wait for the known to come and then trade it accordingly. Because guess what? Just like the market can be irrational before an earnings, it can be just as irrational post earnings. So at least that lets you know the news is out. Then you can trade it accordingly. People just, it's amazing to me that people literally rub their magic crystal balls and think that they're going to be able to figure out what's going to happen with Apple's earnings. Like, I thought Apple's earnings would suck, but guess what? They announced the buyback that we expected. We talked about that. I thought it'd be 100 billion. They did 900 or 90 billion. Of course they're going to beat. I mean, they always guide down. I mean, that's what they do. They guide down to beat. They under promise, over deliver. But guess what? You had your references. You took the short. And maybe I need to be better on the Discord room about explaining this to people, like my thought processes, but I just think ultimately I have my plan and I know what it's going to be. And if you want to know exactly what I'm doing, then just ask. But that's what I've been doing with Apple. I know a lot of people are scared to short it, but I was like, this move is going to get absolutely burned at some point because that looks like a bear market rally. No one understood that. Now I'm shorting more on the pop again because we took some off down. I mean, down in like the 160s to like the 200 day. And I know it went a little lower, but this is what it is. This pop added back a couple hundred shares. I am feeling very confident about it. Now, again, I could be wrong. We'll check it out here. There's no guarantee, but this price, I doubt it's going to get back to. We'll see what happens. Again, I like shorting tech. I hope people realize that. I like shorting tech, but I also like shorting some of these material names because I do have a feeling about oil. And my feeling is that this is very similar to 2008. And in 2008, Dan shorted the hell out of oil because he knew demand destruction at a price. That price was going to hurt the economy. And supply came on like crazy. Now, again, I don't think we have the ability to turn the spigot back on as high as we used to. But I still do believe in demand destruction because prices are too high. People can't afford the shit. I mean, you and I can probably listen to this, but the average person, they can't afford $5, $6, $7 oil. I mean, their cars aren't electric. They can't drive anywhere, and they're not going to fly because the tickets have gotten so expensive. They're not going to rent hotels because things. Again, the whole economy gets burned by higher oil prices. It goes into everything. MicroStrategy talked about it breaking the trend line. If you bought the dip today, be careful. It might not probably follow through. Roblox. This name is just, it feels ready. It feels ready to buy. There is a little bit of uptick in volume. Not touching it. It's not going to go there. Tesla, I'm warning people again, if Elon Musk is tying his purchase of Twitter to his Tesla stock that he owns, he's using it as collateral. I'm telling you right now, people are going to short his stock knowing that, putting him in a position to unwind that trade. That ends badly. But will he finally lose, or will he outsmart the bears again? I don't know. Today's action, look at this. It literally backtested this trend line, closed right back at this trend line right on the 200-day. Near term, unsure, monthly. Good God. This channel is just crazy. Like, it is just trying to hold it. If it fails it, you know where it's going, y'all. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Like, it's going much lower. It's going absolutely much lower. PENN Gaming, market was up today. Congrats. It popped. Couldn't get over the 20-day. I mean, it literally just looks like it's stuck in poop. I mean, it's just stuck in the mud, man. EXPI, oh, absolutely brutal. Decent volume. Someone was buying down here. Again, this company's doing well. Fundamentals don't matter. Don't pay attention to fundamentals. That's why I look at someone like Kramer. He can say fundamentals are great, and look what happens to the stock. UTHR. Another one that's been tradable if you want to trade it. Holding support levels. W. Hitting levels fail. Real simple. Let's end it on Exxon and XOP. The big shorts. I started adding drip today. Now, again, we talk about short arming. Everyone was saying for the 20-day. And, hey, when it held the 50-day today, it wasn't like we were buying or shorting the XOP immediately. I layered into it. Then I got to a point in my mind. I knew my risk reward. I know where I'm at in the 20s, my cost basis in the 19 area. I just said, you know what? I don't trust this market to continue higher. I know that oil prices are not taking out new highs. Oil actually looks like it's dead stuck. I'm going to continue holding the extra short that I added. It was definitely early. Let's not get it twisted. 24.20, 24.10, 24.20, 3.90, 23.80, and then a little at 23. Oh, it got down to 20. I think the drip, and again, we were playing the drip, got down to 22.44. That was painful. But again, maybe I'm stupid sometimes. I'm not perfect. I think I make my own luck. And I know sometimes things stretch. We'll see if it hits the 20 day, you know what to do. Congrats to anyone who's, was it a hoist day or whatever? Hey, he called the 20-day. I thought it wasn't going to be possible because I didn't think the market would pop this much. But guess what? I also didn't have in my back of my head that it couldn't do it because we traded this the last couple of days and made some coin. Giving some back today naturally, but I don't think it gets over the 20-day. It's technically broken too much. And again, I always start on the monthly. Like, look what's happening. Look at the monthly. That's a doji indecision at the 100-week, at the IPO price, at the 0.382, at everything that's going to act as resistance. It needs to take a break. It's really that simple. ExxonMobil has earnings in the morning. This action feels very, very trappish, meaning you pop up, you chop, you come back, you bounce up. Again, I'm not going to say their earnings aren't going to be good, but watch the action tomorrow on ExxonMobil in the morning. If it falls, so will some other oil names. So again, I appreciate y'all watching this. I know things can be rather confusing if you were not following tightly. I don't want to talk in a way that I think makes people feel like they don't understand, but think of this as you're a patient, I'm a doctor, I've been doing this 20 years, I know a little bit more. I have to try to speak in a vernacular that can be understood. But ultimately, my goal is to teach everyone to be a doctor. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to teach everyone to be dependent on me. I don't want you to. I absolutely don't want you to be dependent on me for trading. I want you to know how the markets work so that you can make more money. So if you've gotten this far in the video, I appreciate it. Hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Link is in the Discord. Link to the Discord room is in the description below. And I appreciate everybody. And let's go have some pancakes.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.